Hey there, it's Jared Hamilton with the Hamilton Group at Cherry Creek Mortgage. Welcome to another edition of Java with Jared. Hope you guys are doing fantastic, and once again, happy Friday. Well, rates finished the week a little bit worse than where they ended last week. We did see a lot of data in the housing sector. We saw housing starts for April come in, and that showed a huge jump. It showed a 20% increase than where it was the previous month. Expectations were for about 1.06 million units, and the actual number came in at 1.13 annualized units. We also did see building permits come in, and that showed another increase as well. Not as big as housing starts, but building permits came in about 10% higher than expectations. And expectations, again, were at 1.06 million units, just like the building or housing starts. But the actual building permit number came in at 1.143. So both pretty strong from the housing sector. Today we saw the consumer price index come in, and that measures inflation at the consumer level. And again, remember, these inflation numbers are really important to the Fed. And it only showed at least the headline number up 0.1%, which is really not that big. But when you strip out the volatile food and energy, it showed an increase of 0.3%, which is a little bit more robust. And the Federal Reserve is really watching that core number because food and energy can be very volatile. So what's going on with that is we're seeing that there's a little bit more inflation here than when we, again, strip out the food and energy than what has been happening in the previous months. They do this on a rolling average. So last summer, we saw some very low numbers. Now in the spring and also the tail end of winter, we saw some of that inflation, those inflation numbers from the core level begin to increase. So we're going to see some of those weaker numbers fall off and some of the stronger numbers on there. And so that's going to show that there's going to be a little bit more inflation than what there was last year. And again, the Federal Reserve is really watching inflation. So we're proceeding here, or I'm telling my clients to proceed here with a lot of caution. We also did see the Federal Reserve meeting, and they took the any hike off the table for June. That's not going to happen. But again, there's no, in essence, deadline. They can raise rates at any time. And when we see this inflation maybe coming back to the forefront, also the fact that, as I talked about last week, that we've reached the important 200-day moving average threshold. Those kind of are again, cautionary, very cautionary. And I think that we might be in a stage where we could see the trend of what we've been seeing over the last 12 months, where we saw rates, about 18 months ago, maybe in the mid 4s or so, and then we went down to the very high 3s, and now we're hovering around that 4% level. We might, towards the end of the summer here, be getting a trend to where rates begin to increase potentially because of the breach of that 200-day moving average. It might just be it's a sea change. And this week we did see a few days where we did not recover from breaching that 200-day moving average technical support. So again, proceed with caution here. It's going to be a lot of volatility. The only thing that I think that would really help interest rates is if the stock market did make a correction, and we could see, if the Federal Reserve does look like it's going to increase credit, we could actually see rates maybe benefit a little bit from that, because stock market set a new high yesterday, and what the stock market is really liking right now is this very, very accommodative Federal Reserve policy. And so if it looks like the Federal Reserve is going to increase credit, we could see the stock market correct, money go back into mortgage-backed securities, and that could benefit us a little bit. But generally speaking, I think we're getting pretty close here to maybe a reversal, and maybe towards the middle and of summer, and towards the fall, we might see interest rates a little bit higher. So I'm telling all my clients to lock. So that's what's going on with interest rates. I hope you guys have a very, very wonderful long Memorial Day weekend. And also let us remember during this weekend all those that fought and lost their lives, not only to preserve our freedom here in the United States, but freedoms for millions and millions of others around the whole globe. And so happy Memorial Day weekend, and let's remember those that have fought for us. So thanks for joining me with Java with Jared. Hope you again have a wonderful 3-day weekend. Hope we get a little bit of sun out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.